Hey, hey, and welcome back to Miss Kitty's Wild West Adventures. Today, we're talking about a man who didn't just ride the Old West, he remembered it, loved it, and eventually wrote it down so the rest of us wouldn't forget. He was a cowboy, a storyteller, a husband, a friend to legends, and quite possibly the most famous cowboy Montana ever produced. This is the story of Teddy Blue Abbott. Teddy Blue Abbott stood about 5'8", had piercing blue eyes, a sharp sense of humor, and a way with words that could paint a prairie clearer than a photograph. He was good friends with famed Western artist Charles Marion Russell, and like Russell, Teddy had a gift for capturing the soul of cowboy life. Not the dime novel nonsense, but the real thing. But Teddy's story didn't start in Montana. It started across the Atlantic. He was born Edward Charles Abbott in England in 1860. His father was what you'd call a gentleman tenant, respectable, but not exactly rolling in cash. When things went south financially, Teddy's grandfather made a firm decision. The family would emigrate to America. So in 1871, the Abbotts packed up and settled near Lincoln, Nebraska. And that's where young Teddy's life changed forever. His father soon headed to Texas with a man named Colonel Enzi to buy cattle, 1,200 head of them, and Teddy went along to help. It was there, surrounded by dust, cattle, and men who lived in the saddle, that the 11-year-old fell hard for the image of the Texas cowboy. That was it. The hook was set. But by 1878, Teddy's father decided to turn to farming. An honest life, but not one Teddy had any interest in whatsoever. So Teddy did what a lot of restless young men did. He lit out for the West. He found work with the Olive Brothers, a tough outfit in western Nebraska with a reputation as a gun outfit. This wasn't polite cowboying. This was rough, real, and occasionally dangerous work. Not long after, Teddy went to work for John Chisholm, and this was right after Billy the Kid had famously fallen out with Chisholm. According to Teddy, it was a time when you were either with the kid or against the kid. Teddy decided he wanted no part of that particular argument, and as he later put it, he got out of there muy pronto. In 1884, fate intervened hard. During a roundup, Teddy's horse reared and fell on him, badly injuring his back. He headed to Miles City, Montana to recover. Miles City at the time was known as the cowboy capital, a gathering place for buffalo hunters, cowhands, and characters of every stripe. Teddy famously described the buffalo hunters as lousy and proud of it, which feels both accurate and deeply judgmental in the most cowboy way possible. While in Montana, Teddy crossed paths with Granville Stewart, manager of the DHS Ranch. Now, Granville had an interesting proposition. He offered 500 head of cattle to any man who would marry his oldest daughter, Katie, who was 22. But Teddy heard something even more interesting. Word was that the younger daughter, Mary, just 15 at the time, was the prettier of the two. And just like that, Teddy Blue Abbott began courting Mary. At one point, Teddy admitted to Mary that he regretted not having new clothes, but explained he'd drunk away all the money. Mary didn't miss a beat. She told him she would never be with a man who threw his money away on whiskey. Right then and there, Teddy quit drinking, quit chewing tobacco, and started saving his money. Turns out, he'd finally met his match. Granville and his wife, Abani, insisted that their older daughter be married first, so Teddy and Mary had to wait. But in August of 1887, while out picking raspberries, the two secretly marked their commitment. They etched their initials, T.A. and M.S., and the date, August 7th, 1887, onto an 1848 seated Liberty $50. Teddy carried that coin in his pocket for 50 years, wearing it smooth with time. On September 29th, 1889, Teddy and Mary finally married. They settled on the Three Deuces Ranch in Montana with a handful of horses, a few cows, and $250 to their name. They went on to have 9 children and were married for nearly 50 years. For a while, the ranch prospered. By the early 1900s, Teddy was worth around $40,000, respectable fortune at the time. But the land turned on them. The rains stopped. The grasslands turned to dust. Banks failed. Homesteaders fled. The Abbotts stayed. They sold most of their cattle to climb out of debt, just in time for the Great Depression to arrive and kick them while they were down. So Teddy did something remarkable. He started writing. Inspired by his friend Charles Russell, who supported his family by selling art, Teddy began putting his cowboy life down on paper. His first published piece, Christmas at Fort McGinnis, 1885, appeared in the Fergus County Argus in 1919. Whether he was paid for it, no one knows. Teddy reached out to friends like Will Rogers, Will James, and Joe DeYoung for advice. Nancy Russell, Charles's wife, was writing a biography of her husband and asked Teddy for stories, especially ones that made Charlie look good. Despite his talent, Teddy struggled to sell stories. Editors complained about a lack of gunplay. Turns out, real cowboy life didn't always involve shootouts at high noon. Finally, in September of 1938, Teddy's life story was published as We Pointed Them North, ghostwritten by Helena Huntington Smith. She famously said, "If this isn't the best book ever written about cowboys, then I've never read one." Teddy received his copy shortly before his death on April 7th, 1939. His daughter said he was too weak to really appreciate it. 500 people attended his funeral. At his request, he was buried with his boots on and his hat in his casket, a cowboy to the very end. His legacy lives on, not just in the pages of a book, but in the honest memory of what the West truly was. And that's a legacy worth tipping your hat to. Thanks for riding along with me today. We hope you enjoyed this episode of Miss Kitty's Wild West Adventures. If you did, please be sure to give this video a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, and ding the bell for notifications. And in the meantime, I'll catch you on down the trail.